Oh, sorry. You've caught me while I'm listening to False God by Taylor Swift. Just one of the best, most meaningful songs of the entire series. Hello everyone and welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Today we are talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 6. This is a big one. We've all been waiting for this. I'm so excited to dive into this. And as I mentioned last week, we had not had any Taylor Swift in this season except for Episode 1. And this episode marks the return of Taylor Swift. So it's all kinds of great things. At the end, I'll do like a full breakdown of the Taylor Swift music in The Summer I Turned Pretty. But for now, let's jump right into the plot. We start off this episode in Jeremiah and his dad's apartment in Boston, and Belly and Jeremiah are on an air mattress. So we find out that Belly has actually been staying in the apartment in Boston for 2 weeks now, and she left almost directly after the whole thing with the peach happened. So safe to say that definitely made an impact on her psyche and was not something that she took lightly. Adam wants her out of the house. We catch a little note of red in this scene because there's a red shirt on the ground next to her, which is always a nice touch, even though she's in a dark blue shirt. And now let's watch Blue over the course of this episode, right? Because she starts off in a super dark blue t-shirt in Jer's house, and then when she goes to the bridal party it's a little bit lighter, and then at the very end scene it's literally a see-through blue shirt. Like we can literally see straight through to her heart, and you know what's red? A heart. Thanks for watching my video. As Belly and Jer are waking up, Jeremiah is having a conversation with his dad about how terrible of a roommate Belly is, and he's got those little wireframe glasses back on. I see you glasses from the proposal. And while they're having this conversation, Belly is in the bathroom and she's belting out singing in the mirror while she's brushing her teeth. Oh, we'll get there. Oh, we'll get back to that. What does that remind you of? Another scene later in the episode. Yes, and we'll dive into that later. Belly and Jer need to go look at apartments for the next school year. Adam gives Jeremiah the day off, even though Jeremiah's like, bro, there's literally an important meeting. You want me there, right? And Adam's like, you don't need to be there. Jer's like, but I need to be at the meeting, right? And Adam's like, nope, no, you don't need to be there. And imagine embarrassing your son in front of his fiance like that. Cut to Belly and Jer are now apartment hunting. They've taken the morning off. It's a cute little small little apartment. It would be very nice for them. Jeremiah says he could cook in the kitchen. Since when does Jeremiah cook? Not in my recent memory, not in the books, that's for sure. So just a little note. Also, there was another thing that didn't make sense with this scene because the realtor was like, oh yeah, no, this has been on the market forever, but it hasn't sold at all. So we're opening it up to college students. And then he hands them the paper and he's like, get ready, it'll go fast. I thought it's been on the market forever. What happened? Turns out Jeremiah decided to not tell Belly that he has a terrible credit score up until the moment when they're about to try to sign for an apartment. So Jeremiah has 2 credit cards, one that his dad pays and one that he signed up for to get free Bruins tickets. He has a terrible credit score on the one that he owns himself. And they said, oh, we'll look for places that don't have credit checks. In this economy? Girl, where? Send me the listings. We get a montage of them going through a bunch of different apartments. They're all terrible, of course, because you need to have good credit to get any kind of good apartment. And during this montage, Jer's just trying to find the easiest one and get out of there. And Belly is like, hey, where are you trying to get to? The meeting that your dad said you don't need to be at? Girl. In Jer's defense, he takes it like a champ. He's like, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I guess, whatever. But then that doesn't really consistently line up because here he is willing to bail on Belly to be with his dad and to go do like important meeting, moving up in the partnership stuff. But then later on in the episode when his dad is like, hey, you should come to golf with the partners with me, Jer's like, oh, no, I need to go see Belly. Get your priorities in line, man. If you want to be like a career shark, just do it. Just commit. But don't be like wishy-washy. Actually, no, I need to go do my career. Actually, no, I need to go be with Belly. Post-apartment hunting, Belly arrives back at the summer house and sees Conrad looking like an old man doing the crossword with a pencil on the newspaper, which, oh my gosh, that reminds us of the Christmas scene when he did the thing where the I still love you. Anyway, immediately he's like, oh, you've been gone for a while, which that must be so hard for him because he finally like had one moment where he like gave in to his feelings and, you know, wiped the peach juice off of her or whatever. And then she was like, peace out. I'm going for 2 weeks. I'm going to leave you alone. And yet he still didn't go back to California though, because he was probably holding out hope that she would come back. Right? He offers her food that he made her, and she's like, no, I'm good. And he immediately clocks it. Now that Belly's wedding planning has been taken over, she needs to go to the country club and kind of do a walkthrough and just make sure everything looks in order. Our first shot of her that we see at the country club, she's wearing a fully red dress and a red lip. We know this diva. She was walking through the country club and she walks through the debutante rehearsals for this season. And oh my gosh, it's just so sweet. The flashback, she looks so happy, but also like nostalgic. Times were easier then. I mean, how can a person know everything at 18, 16 in her case, and nothing at 22? Even when they're not playing Taylor Swift, they're referencing her. She goes into the big ballroom. Jenny Han is there. Yes, she is. There's our queen. As Belly is doing this walkthrough, she just kind of like freaks out and she calls Jer, and Jer picks up and she's like, hey, I'm having second thoughts about this. Oh my God, yes, guys. You finally got it. I want to jump for joy. I can't. I'm on a treadmill. I know. Breaking the fourth wall. I'm standing on a treadmill, so it's going to make it very loud noises. But in my head, I'm jumping for joy right now because, yes, girl, you finally got it. Belly also says, I don't want to look out to sea at 100 people that I don't know at our wedding. And Jer's like, perfect. Then you can just look at me. That one thing I will let slide. At first I cringed, and then I was like, well, actually that's sweet. Like if I was in her position, I'd be like, oh, that's sweet. But one thing that she says is she's like, oh, we'll just have to stick together and we'll weather this storm together. The storm being your wedding. Girl, if it's that much of a storm, you shouldn't be having the wedding, maybe. Maybe you shouldn't be having the wedding if it literally feels like you're going through a freaking hurricane. You shouldn't have to weather your wedding. You should be excited about it. Post phone call, we are now in Jer's office and we see Denise and Steven flirting it up. She's sitting on his desk. Suddenly we're all casual, hee hee ha ha. Like we skipped over that part, but actually thank God, if I had to watch them at the gaming conference, I probably would have just like fast forward. Denise will be at the wedding, we learned, so that'll be a fun little triangle interaction of Steven and Taylor and Denise and all those things. And Denise also points out to Jeremiah, like, Kaylee is totally stepping out of her boundaries and like doing something that is so not in her job description for you guys by planning your wedding. And Jeremiah's like, I don't know, like it doesn't, like it just doesn't faze him that like people are going out of their way to do things for him, because it's just like he's so all in his own bubble all the time. Like everything is about him, even if it has nothing to do with him. Like Belly and Conrad's relationship in his mind is about him, even though it's literally about them. And Denise asks Steven to meet this weekend, and he's like, oh, this weekend? Oh man, I'm busy. And she's like, okay, all right. Belly arrives back home from the country club tour and is just so frustrated and overwhelmed and annoyed. And Conrad's outside just fixing some lights. And like, everything that we see him doing all summer is just to make sure that Belly has the perfect wedding. Like he's fixing the lights, he's fixing the roof, he's doing all these things because he's just trying to fix up the house for the wedding. We've seen these hydrangea bushes before and I haven't pointed it out because I was like, oh, it's too small, nobody will care, but I care, so I'm telling you anyway. Inside of the blue hydrangea bushes, there is one singular red flower poking out from it. Conrad tells Belly, I made you more food, but it's also not just chicken, it's now corn on the cob and a cookie. Like, he knew that she wasn't gonna eat entirely healthy just chicken, but he was like, but please just eat something. And she was like, oh no, I'm good actually. Belly calls Taylor about how stressed out she is about everything and the bridal shower, and Taylor's like, no, girl, it'll be good. And then Taylor and her mom, Lucinda, proceed to like literally throw dirt on Laurel's name, being like, Laurel's so judgmental, I can't believe she's not coming. She literally judged me when I got a speeding ticket driving you guys home from your 13th birthday, what the heck. Conrad, having finished doing whatever electrical stuff he was doing in the front, comes in, washes his hands, and we can see him physically fighting the urge to check in the refrigerator if Belly ate the food that he left out for her. But finally he gives in, and she didn't eat it. But on top of the food that he left for her, there's a little sticky note saying, eat this, with a smiley face. I love that man. And immediately he gets so worried that she hasn't eaten the food, he clocks it, and he proceeds to text her mother to meet up. Yeah. He doesn't like tell on her. He's not like, Belly's not eating. He's just like, we should meet up, which we see them do. We also see Jeremiah at the office, and he's about to walk into Adam's office, and then he hears Kaylee and his dad like getting their flirt on. And dude just turns around, walks away, comes back up, knocks, doesn't even react, doesn't ask anything about it. Because I think he's just so conflict avoidant when it comes to anybody other than Belly and Conrad. But when it comes to his dad, he is so conflict avoidant, so people pleaser. Because despite what Adam has done wrong, he just always idolizes Adam and wants Adam's approval. Because Conrad always got Adam's approval so easily that Jeremiah just wants Adam's approval. So he didn't even ask like, oh, hey, I just heard you outside. He's just like, okay, yep, sure. Here you go. Here's the report. Okay, we have reservations for tomorrow. Sounds good. Turns around, walks out, shakes his head, and is like, well, whatever. This guy. It's now nighttime, and we see Conrad walk into a diner that looks suspiciously like Pop's Chocolate Shop from Riverdale, but I chose to expunge that from my head. And we see him sit down with Laurel. As he's doing this, we hear Matter of Trust playing by Billy Joel in the background. I love Billy Joel. He got a shout out last week at the bakery place. They said they made this cake for his birthday. And now we have a full needle drop, Matter of Trust, which is just such a good song, and I was so excited to hear them use it in the show. Basically, Conrad's just like, hey, I'm so worried for Belly, like, we need to kiki and solve this issue. You need to go. And she's like, oh, you support them getting married? And he's like, didn't say that, I said you need to go. Conrad catches up Laurel that Kaylee, the one who Adam cheated with, is now the planner of Belly's wedding, and Laurel is obviously frustrated, but then she's like, hey, since when do you know? He's like, oh yeah, no, I knew a long time ago. I only told Belly, whatever. And she's like, you're keeping secrets. He goes, me? Keep secrets? What? At least he's self-aware. And Laurel straight up asks Conrad, hey, when do you get to be happy? Did you just twist the knife, girl? When does he get to be happy? And I'll just say, Jer could never. On two accounts. Jer could never on two accounts. Jer could never on Conrad's behalf, but Jer could also never on Belly's behalf. Because Jer's known that Laurel is obviously not wanting to be a part of this, and it's tearing Belly up, and Jer's just like, she'll come around. She'll come around, I know she will. It is now Saturday, the day of the bridal shower, and Steven, I guess, was going to be driving from Boston to the bridal shower Lord knows when, because Denise shows up at his apartment before he leaves. And his apartment, by the way, this is his first job out of college. He has the world's greatest view. Is that supposed to be the Boston Commons behind that? I don't know what it is, but like, he has an amazing view for the salary of somebody that is in their first job after college. And we just find out that Denise wanted to meet up with him because she wants to create her own company with him. And so that will probably be their plot going forward. So now we're gonna get to this part of the episode where Belly's at her bridal shower with all her girls, Steven and Laurel, and then Adam, Conrad, and Jeremiah are doing a whole dude's day, I guess, in Boston. So we're basically just gonna be bouncing back and forth between the two of them for the foreseeable future. Okay, we're at the bridal shower. They're playing Time After Time, another incredible song, but what's new? We finally see Annika again. Girl, it's been so long. It's been so long, and I'm just so happy to see you back on my screen. Hey, girl. She'll be back on the screens soon enough when the whole actual wedding part commences, because she's in the bridal party, I think. So, like, when all the bridal party people show up at the summer house, she'll be there. And Laurel is there. Conrad convinced her last night that she needed to go to the bridal party, and here she is. And they have a very sweet reunion, and yes, I did shed a tear. Thank you for asking. I did cry. Conrad, Adam, and Jeremiah are at a suit fitting, and Conrad is the one that's getting fitted for the suit. We never see Jeremiah getting fitted for the suit, which is already our number one clue that, like, Conrad is the groom. If you did not know anything about the show other than coming into this episode in that scene, you would be like, oh, that's the brother that's getting married, obviously. And you'd be wrong. Or maybe you'd be right. Ba, ba, ba. And also, Adam and Jeremiah pick up their glasses and they drink it like the exact same way, and they share the same looks, and they're just having these buddy bro venture capitalist conversations, and it's just like, they are so alike, And every single scene this episode, I feel like, just tries to reinforce that. They're just so... Conrad is Susanna and Jeremiah is Adam, and I won't be taking other opinions on that matter. Back to the bridal shower, they're doing the gifts. Dear Future Husband by Meghan Trainor is playing. Belly gets gifted a gift by her neighbor, that has Isabel Fisher on the bottom of some stationery, and she like actually low-key freaks out. And it hits her that she's like, oh wait, I'm gonna be somebody's wife. I'm gonna be marrying somebody. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Which is just crazy because, girlfriend, you will have the last name Fisher, but not from that brother. Steven runs in very late because of Denise, and he throws some air tags at Belly, and you know, Taylor is getting on him for like giving her air tags, but I was sitting there thinking like, air tags are actually low-key expensive. Like, I would appreciate that gift, but I don't know, maybe you get really expensive gifts for a bridal shower. It's not like the registry, is it? I don't know. For like the second half of the episode, we get so many Steven and Taylor scenes, and it was so nice to see them together again. Post-suit fitting, Adam, Conrad, and Jeremiah are now in the car, and Jeremiah gets a text from Belly that says, oh, Laurel made it to the shower, and Conrad's just sitting in the front seat like, I did that. Yeah, I did that. That was all me. And Jeremiah's like, I knew she would come around. And what did you do? What did you do to make that happen? Nothing. Conrad did that all by himself. And they ask, I can't even start saying this part. I'm so mad. Oh, my blood was boiling. They ask Conrad, oh, are you taking a +1? And Conrad's like, oh, no. And Adam's like, oh, you gonna try to get with one of Belly's, bridesmaids or whatever? And Jeremiah's like, oh, you know what? Her friend Annika is hot. You're about to get married. You actually cannot be saying that about your fiance's best friend. I'm sorry, you actually cannot. And I'm supposed to be led that you won't cheat again. Conrad's just like, hey, listen, I'm going back to California. There's no point anyway. And Jeremiah and Adam are like, well, that is the point. Hey! And they're both giggling and laughing up a storm. These dirt bags, like, oh my god, how are they? How can you sit there straight-faced and be like, I love Jeremiah, girl, oh my god, what the actual fresh heck is happening? Then Adam's like, oh hey guys, I'm taking this new woman that I'm seeing to your wedding. It's Kaylee, you might know her, yeah. And Conrad, oh, he's a better man than me. I would have whipped that steering wheel, crashed the car. Conrad is trying to get Adam to admit that he cheated on Susanna with Kaylee in the car. And he's just like, oh, really? When did you guys start seeing each other? When did that happen? And Jeremiah just like puts his hand on Conrad's arm and is like, don't. I understand that it's partially Jeremiah wants to keep the peace because he never wants to disappoint or upset his dad, which like, your dad is such a terrible person. I don't understand why you would still hold him on such high a pedestal. But then also, yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to hurt his dad, and he doesn't want to be like letting Conrad go at his dad. So he's protecting his dad, which like, I'm gonna crash out. Why would you ever want to protect Adam Fisher? And you know what? Jeremiah inadvertently just screws himself over there, because that is the point in which he would have found out that the person who is planning his wedding is the person who his dad cheated on his sick, dying, cancer-riddled mom with. And later on in the season, I just know Jeremiah's gonna find out, and he's gonna come to Conrad and be like, why would you not tell me? How could you do this? You always leave me in the dark. You never tell me anything, blah, 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 blah. You did that to yourself. Conrad was trying to tell you, and you were like, no, don't get on dad. Like, he's just trying his best. Like, I'm gonna burst into flames talking about Jeremiah this episode. Back to the bridal shower. More Steven and Taylor flirting. They're playing a guessing game where Belly's talking about all these things that she knows about Jeremiah. Belly says, oh yeah, Jeremiah's first pet was a dog named Rosie. He found it on the beach. He cried when it left, all these things. And Steven's like, well, actually, Conrad found the dog. And Belly immediately goes like sicko mode on him. Is like, no, he didn't. Jeremiah found that. You suck. You're a liar. And she just gets all kinds of defensive about it. And she's like, because I know Jeremiah. Like, I've known him since the day I met him. I've known him since, like, the day I was born. of course I know that he was the one that found the dog and not Conrad. And Taylor's like, yeah, no, like, I'm sure you're right. He's just trying to stir the pot. And Belly's like, yeah. And then Belly and Taylor just have a little heart-to-heart on the couch. And Belly's like, I don't know, like, I just suddenly am realizing, like, I'm gonna be somebody's wife. Like, I'm gonna be married and I'm gonna be somebody's wife. And Taylor, girl, is stronger than me. She's sitting there like, yeah, that actually is kind of the whole point of getting married. It actually is to be married. And then she's just like, but you're so lucky. You're so lucky you and Jer found each other and you're perfect. And Belly's sitting there and her face, girl, that does not look like somebody who feels like they have found the perfect person. Now we get to Adam, Jeremiah, and Conrad's lunch at the steakhouse. Adam's getting on Conrad like, oh, are you still a doctor? Like, I heard you were this and I heard you were that and you're such a quitter and blah, blah, blah. And Conrad's just like, you know, I stopped caring about what you think about me a long time ago. Thank God somebody said it. Adam needs his ego to be deflated 1,000,000%. But you know who's gonna blow it right back up again? Jeremiah. Adam is like, oh, you know, Jeremiah, do you know why Conrad's all in a huff? And Jeremiah's like, I don't know, he doesn't tell me anything. Oh my God. Well, he was trying to tell you in the car, but you stopped him. And yes, way back when in season 1, when he found out that your mom had cancer again, did he tell you? No, but he was trying to protect you. When he found out that the summer house was being sold, did he tell you? No, but he was trying to protect you. I get that there's a theme, but also he did tell you, hey, I am still in love with Belly. And then you proceeded to make out with her on his car. So track record's not holding very strong, and I understand why he doesn't tell you anything. Conrad says, look, I got fired. And Jeremiah's sitting over there and he just cracks this little smirk. Now, Jeremiah is the one that breaks the silence and says, you know, good on you, Con, for sticking around and doing whatever after being fired. And Adam's like, yeah, good. Like, Adam had no reaction other than just being like, yeah, whatever, okay. And I know Jeremiah broke the silence because he's a people pleaser and he didn't want them to fight, like, during his, this is not really a bachelorette, but like if there's like a groom shower, I guess that's kind of this equivalent. He just doesn't want the fighting. He doesn't want any fighting, which makes sense. But also, I know he was so mad when Adam was just like, yeah, okay. Because if we flash back to Adam's reaction to Jeremiah having to stay another semester in school, well, that was a lot different than his reaction to this. So I get it. I get why Jeremiah feels this such uber inferiority complex to Conrad, but like, babe, take your anger out on your father, not your brother. Like, your father is literally one that's setting up the system, and yet you are the one that still feels the constant need to please him. Steven and Taylor are in the kitchen and they're flirting it up, and Taylor is laying it on thick, and Steven's just like, oh, like, we can't do this. I just want to be friends, and if we can't be friends, then I want to be no contact. And she's like, pah, I am being friends with you. We are friends. I'm gonna give you a lemon bar to show you that we're friends. And he's like, okay. And he takes the lemon bar, whatever. And she walks away, but she is so, so sad about this, and I'm so sad about this. Like, I just need everybody to say what they're actually feeling and not just be like skirting around it. Like, if you tell him, oh, hey, I'm actually in love with you and I really want to be with you, I bet he would say, oh, I want to be with you too, as long as there's no games. Which is literally me predicting the future as to what the lines will be in the season finale. Laurel leaves the bridal shower. She gives Belly some airline tickets because she's like, listen, you guys deserve to see the world. There's so much world to see. Please don't lock yourself in that crummy, dusty apartment with Jeremiah. And Laurel's also going to the wedding. That's all the update. Every single person now who was against the wedding is now going to the wedding because Jeremiah and Belly are so stubborn that they were willing to lose family members over this rash wedding decision. And Conrad is enabling them. Post bridal shower, Belly calls Jer and she's like, we are so back. We are so 100% back. And he's like, what? And she's like, oh, I mean, not that we were ever gone. Anyway, you know what's so funny that happened? Literally Steven said that Conrad was the one that found Rosie the dog, and Jeremiah's like, he was. I know Jeremiah's inferiority complex, his comparison complex to his brother is going crazy. All sirens, all alarm bells are going off in his head right now. And he's like, no, it was Conrad. Me and Steven made fun of Conrad when he cried because they took the dog away. And now Belly's sitting there questioning, oh my gosh, Conrad found it. I was so convinced that it was Jer. But no, it's Conrad. Conrad is a sweet, sensitive person that I've loved all along. Now I'm questioning everything. As you should, girlfriend, as you should. Laurel and Belly have a movie night where they watch Funny Face, which is a musical starring Audrey Hepburn from the 1950s. And in this musical, a girl from New York City ends up going over to Paris. Did somebody say Paris? During this, Belly's talking about how she used to do these movie nights with her mom and how it was always a musical movie night, and the one that she used to watch on repeat over and over and over and over and over again was Bye Bye Birdie, which the star of is Conrad Birdie. And the song that we watch Laurel and Belly watching on the TV is the song that goes, we love you, Conrad. Oh, yes, we do. We love you, Conrad. And we'll be true. And she will be true forever. And the funny thing is, we were not talking about Conrad at all. She hasn't seen Conrad since the day before yesterday, and they really didn't have many significant interactions other than him being like, you should eat, and her being like, no. So the fact that she's now like, oh, movie nights, and I loved Conrad so deeply, the way that you can only ever really love somebody the first time around. It's like, nobody was talking about Conrad though, girlfriend. You brought Conrad up right now though. And we end this like flashback clip with Belly in the mirror while she's brushing her teeth, singing one of the songs from Bye Bye Birdie. And the lyrics that she repeats at the end are, guess I'll always care, guess I'll always care, guess I'll always care, while we're talking about Conrad. Guys, it's right there. They're literally knocking us over the head with a bat, with a baseball bat right now. Like, literally not even a wooden bat, like a metal bat. And it's just so cute to see that they carried that like quirk of her to her current day, because like I said, we go back to the beginning of the episode and Belly's in the bathroom brushing her teeth and she's singing in the mirror to herself. We also see a short scene of Taylor stalking Denise on Instagram, which, listen, we've all been there, right? We've all been there, right? Now Belly is back in Cousins after her bridal shower and she walks into the house and sees Conrad and he's outside and she's standing there, looking at his back, literally checking him out, which is so funny. I mean, no harm, no foul. It's not like anybody's seeing her checking him out, except for us. We're always watching. And my note right here, let me see if I can get closer to show you guys. See what it says? Because I shrieked. I shrieked when this happened. I was looking forward to it and they did it justice. Okay, and before I move on, I know what I'm about to say is absolutely the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard in your life, but what color is blood? It's red. It's literally red. Okay, jokes aside, Conrad puts his head on her shoulder, which is reminiscent of that scene where he was wearing the sweater that I talked about last episode from season 2. Belly is wrapping up the wound and her hand, once she's done, really lingers there. Really lingers there. And then we literally start hearing a heartbeat in the audio track. It's going ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And then once we get a couple seconds of that, Taylor Swift has arrived in the house, everybody. False God starts playing. Ah! They did that. They did that. My brain was already in overdrive because obviously the day that the episode released was the day that she announced The Life of a Showgirl release date October 3rd. And I'd already watched the 2-hour New Heights podcast. And then I get Taylor Swift. Oh. Oh my God. So False God starts and they're just kind of looking at each other and it's this very like close-up montage. Everybody looks so beautiful. They are yearning to the max. And he's asking her like, hey, I'm gonna go and lie down. And she's like, I don't think you should lie down. I think you should stay right here. And he's like, oh, no, it's okay. Like I actually can lie down. And she's like, oh yeah, whatever, I guess. And he's like, oh, can you help me up? And he leans in towards her to get help up, and she thinks he's going in for a kiss. And she leans in and he puts his hand on her shoulder and collapses and they stand up. But if he wanted to, she would. If he wanted to, she would. She was this, guys, my fingers are touching. She was this close to folding. Conrad leaves, and now it's just Belly alone with her thoughts. She is just sitting on the edge of the bath and she's like, what did I almost just do? So you were about to go in to kiss him. At least we get that immediate confirmation. Then she's like, this wasn't like the peach thing. This was all me. Now, as for Taylor Swift, False God, this is not the first time we have gotten this song in this TV show. Run the clip. Season 1, we get False God on the 4th of July episode when Belly and Conrad are about to kiss, and then Jeremiah shoots a firework at them so they don't kiss. But that was like the first real moment of like, oh my God, we both have feelings and this might just happen. And then obviously it got interrupted. But that was like when the ball really started rolling between the two of them. And also I'll say in that episode, she tells him he looks romantic with wet hair, and he did have wet hair during this scene, of course. As I said, Taylor Swift has been in a hiatus since the beginning of this season. Now, the last time that we saw Taylor Swift being used for Belly, it was You're Losing Me at the end of episode 1 of this season when she found out that Jeremiah slept with Lacey. Now, the lyrics of You're Losing Me are, I can't find a pulse. My heart won't start anymore for you. That's like the main part that we need to focus on right now. Cut to now, we hear her heart start beating again. Her heart has started again after her heart stopped with You're Losing Me. Taylor Swift shows where her heart is truly at. Because, and I'll even say this, last season we got Delicate between her and Jer, which I can't believe they got it, but they got it. So she was really showing that she really truly felt something for Jeremiah in that instance. Jeremiah and Belly have only gotten 2 songs. They've gotten Delicate and then they got You're Losing Me. Conrad and Belly, that's a whole different story. But the last song that we got about Conrad from Belly's POV was Exile by Taylor Swift at the end of last season. And she said, Conrad Fisher, I evict you from my heart. And now the first song that she has pertaining to Conrad in this season is False God, which was one of the first ones that she had about him. And her heart is starting again, right? She evicted him from her heart, and now her heart has started again with the heartbeat into False God. And the chorus of False God that she keeps repeating over and over and over again, we'd still worship this love. We'd still worship this love. We'd still worship this love, guys. It's coming. Conrad and Belly endgame is coming. To summarize the whole Taylor Swift section.
Taylor Swift is important in this show. Taylor Swift shows Belly's true feelings, so says the creator of the show, Jenny Han. We got False God for Conrad in season 1 at the end of the 4th of July episode, and when they almost kissed but Jeremiah interrupted them, it was the beginning of their real romantic journey. The last song that we had pertaining to Conrad was Exile, where she evicted him from her heart at the end of season 2. And now the most recent Taylor Swift song that we have pertaining to Conrad is False God. We're circling back, and her heart has started again. Jeremiah got Delicate in season 2, and then got You're Losing Me, I Can't Find a Pulse, My Heart Won't Start Anymore at the end of the first episode of this season.
I could make a whole video about Taylor Swift in this show, guys, but like, roughly, that's where we're at. If you have any questions, let me know down below. But other than that, that's all I had for this video, so I'm looking forward. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the wedding. Hopefully there'll be more and more Taylor Swift now that she's back and her heart has started again. Anyway, see you all next week. Bye!